my name is Jay Morgan. I'm a police officer for 23 years and I live in the state of New Jersey in Bergen County. Very early on, it was either the fire department or police department. I'd say about 22, 23. Grew up in Union City where a lot of my friends had either become firemen or cops. They both very much enjoyed the job and the benefits that they got from the job. So at that time I started taking the test for either. How's my life changed since the pandemic? Tremendously. My personal life has changed as far as what I do on a daily basis, how I conduct my business, how I conduct my personal life when I'm doing my daily duties as a police officer, how our personal life goes, what we thought was a normal lifestyle is now no more normal. How we guard our children from the basic stuff that they can't even leave the house. I've never washed my hands so much in my life. So a lot has changed. Just picking up basic toiletries became a challenge to something that you fully expected. There's always going to be toilet paper there. There's always going to be steak to be able to buy or chicken to be able to buy, or for a while we couldn't even buy mayonnaise. So all the stuff that we were used to basically changed in a day. Seemed like a day. My worst day. It had to be when my wife started exhibiting symptoms of having the disease. It was like a Wednesday, and she started telling me that her coworkers, well, every day she came home telling me that another one of her coworkers, who she just had lunch with, or breakfast with rather, they all gathered around the table, and they obviously took their masks off to eat, and each day one of those nurses was coming down with the virus. So-and-so tested positive, so-and-so tested positive, and I'm like, were you wearing your mask? She's like, how am I supposed to wear my mask? I'm eating. So then sure enough, that Wednesday comes around, and now she's telling me how run down she feels, how she doesn't feel good, her nose is running, just everything about her. She's starting to have all those achiness all over her. So we were keeping an eye on it, but she didn't have the cough, she didn't have the fever, and all of a sudden it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and she starts coughing hysterically. And we just kind of woke up and we just kind of looked at each other, and she's like, I gotta go get tested tomorrow. I'm like, yeah. So she calls out, she goes and sees our personal doctor, and that whole day was like hell, because I'm thinking, my wife, unselfishly, I told her to be careful. I told her try not to work with COVID patients, because I'm sure she didn't tell anybody, but my wife has an immune problem. Her immune system doesn't work properly, so she's already with the deck stacked against her, and she didn't tell anybody about that. She still went into work, and she said the example of, if I'm asking all these people to go with their symptoms, she goes, I can't not go with mine, which I understood, but it didn't make me feel any better. So when I had the thoughts in my mind that she's going to have this disease and she's already got a bad immune system, I'm thinking the worst. So I set the basement up. All right, so I set the basement up for her. Everything was nice. She had a TV, she had the refrigerator, which is already pretty much set up. But I made it comfortable for her. She came back from our personal doctor, went to her hospital, got herself checked, and we were just basically waiting for the results. So it was about like 10 o'clock at night, she comes running up the stairs, and I was about to say, what are you doing up here? And she's like, I'm negative. And it was like Christmas all over again. It was, we just sat there and kind of cried. No, I would say, dealing with people that are ill and dealing with, car accidents and, dead bodies of however they got, to be deceased, that was something you see being in my field. But in this field, and how it was crushing people, and family members of mine and personal friends of mine that were all basically healthy, a month ago, were now passing away by themselves. No, I don't think I've ever been ready for something like this. No. Well, the value of teamwork with this is that we both understood what we had to do as far as our responsibilities to our professions and to our family, and that neither one of us could call out. We both had a responsibility to our communities, to who we work for, to show up every day and to do our jobs. And there wasn't any way I was talking her out of going to work, and there wasn't any way she was talking me out of going to work. But it was a respect that we had, and we knew we were getting into. nursing is something my wife always had in her, and I've always been attracted to my field, and it was something that we had a general respect for, and we worked through it, and so far so good. So far so good on that. What has the pandemic taught me about the human fabric? It has told me that we are a lot stronger than we think we are. We are adaptable. We can change. We can, you know, on a drop of a dime, if everything we've been doing our whole life, we do it this way, we could start doing it this way. People that don't know each other start to help one another without even questioning. I can't tell you how many people have stopped to me on the road and just says thank you. You know, and that does happen from time to time. It happened after 9/11, and it happens on the big disasters. But stuff like this reminds us that we are human and we're all in this together. Well, it affected our family in the fact of we were we were go, go, go before this happened. I mean, if we had an empty night on the calendar, it was a big deal. And we all know sometimes that gets a little stressful because you're always feeling like you're on a go, go, go. The kids love it because they're active. But as far as, you know, us getting a day off from work and then all the other stuff, it was at first, you know, kind of, wow, we get to have a break and we get to spend some time alone in the house, to we're spending too much time alone in the house. The kids, well, I'll tell you what, one of the second worst days that we've had, and it leads to your question of one of the worst days in the pandemic, is that she came home one day, and I see her a lot in the driveway. She'll pull into the driveway and she just sits there for about a good 5 to 10 minutes, and she's crying. And so one day, after she does that, she comes upstairs and she's sitting at the table at the chair on our table, and she's looking at me, and her eyes are filled with tears, and she's looking at stuff online, and she's looking at stuff on her phone, and I tell her, you know, you have to unplug. And she turns to me and she goes, "We have to go finish our wills." And I go, "Really?" She goes, "Yes." She goes, "This is going to get us all. We have to finish our wills. We have to make sure our kids are provided for and the right people are taking care of our children, and we have to prepare for this." Now, this is something that we've kind of put off throughout the years. Yeah, we got to go do that. But she was so dead set in her eyes that this is going to get us all, and we have to prepare our children for when we go because of our profession. You know, in my line of work and her line of work, we're frontliners, we're exposed, and it eventually is going to get us. So if I had to prepare for the future, it would be to make sure everything is set up for the what if we do go, with my children and their futures and their colleges and who they might live with after the fact that we're gone because we were on the front line. As a closing remark, I would say that this whole thing was unexpected, obviously, and it took us by storm, and people really showed their resiliency, especially nurses. I will say that, especially nurses, because they got tested early and they one by one started dropping, and a lot of times when people start dropping, everybody else sort of backs off and is like, I don't want any part of that. But they kept on coming to work, and they kept on, you know, I got this, and, you know, aching each other on, and, you know, supporting one another. So I would say that out of this, we really saw how great the nursing industry is, how supportive finally everybody was towards nursing, because it's one of those things that you have your nurse, she's great while you got her, but as soon as you get done with her, you know, it's one of those forgotten kind of gifts that we get. So hopefully after this is all said and done, we'll take care of our families, what we need to do in case the what if, but we're also going to have a little bit more love and respect for our nurses because they really pulled through.